Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch presented by Phenom. I'm Kyle. That's Mike. We're back doing a short recap, of course, of Thursday. 12-game slate? 12 games, right? 4? Yes. 3 early, an odd game in between, and then an 8-game main. So
7-game main.
7-game. Yep.
That's correct.
Oh man, how did your day go overall?
Pitching was interesting today. I think nothing really went as planned. A couple things that I had read throughout the day turned me on to Rich Hill, and that turned out okay. Kind of saved my night there toward the end, where it looked like it was going to be a complete loss.
That was a fantastic call by you. I got off Rich. I was all over Gio today with until the weather concerns, and Mike, our meteorologist, he says to me, it doesn't look good. And then the Washington postponed the game for whatever reason, delayed it. And I was like,
that was ridiculous, man.
It was dry for like 2 hours.
That was probably the most entertaining part of my night was typing in on Twitter, Nationals rain, and just watching all the flames that are coming out of people's mouths.
Yep. People were pissed.
Yeah, apparently it didn't rain at all, and they were just delaying the game, so...
And you know what? Even though Gio started, right? I thought to myself, as soon as I saw that, I was like, you know what? Nope. Gio is gonna be off, right? Obviously he's warming up before that, and regardless of the weight, it's just gonna throw off your timing. And so, I got off Gio, got on Rich Hill. Fortunately, I had Jose Barrios in every line with Rich Hill. He was not the ace I was expecting, but Rich Hill did save my night. Recovered part of my buy-in. The early was fantastic. I finished top 5 in 2 GPPs, so that was awesome.
Wow. Congrats, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I got like half my buy-in back today. It wasn't a complete loss, but, it was a net loss. But, it happens. I think we looked at slate top to bottom, and we talked about the mirage of pitching options, and that generally is a bad sign to me because at any given day, those guys can go out and outperform each other. And that kind of did happen. But I think going forward, we look at something going on as far as weather in Washington or in D.C. We have to just assume the worst at this point because I think that's the second time this year that they've had some crazy calls. I know it has a lot to do with the umpires, but some umpires crew defer completely to the grounds crew. I know from working as a bat boy in the minors for a while, there's some umpire crew that don't take care. They just leave it to the grounds crew, and you do what you do. There's some that are more hands-on than others.
Well, it's kind of like that whole thing of like let the pros do their job. You know what I mean? So.
Exactly. But at some point, you think like, and at 2 hours into the game, the umpire goes out and there's still not a drop. They knock on the grounds crew, and be like, "Hey, you guys like
what's going on?
Playing cards or what's going on here? Put the tarp on the field. It's a rain delay."
Yeah. It's didn't make any sense, but I'm glad I got off the game. Dodgers game was wacky. Unfortunately, I stacked.
Fernando Rodney turned back into Fernando Rodney. Decided to take that shell of himself that was currently wearing and go back to normal. He was bad.
Couldn't understand that one, but you know what? We went against our golden rule, Mike.
What do we do?
We always talk about never playing bats against a pitcher making his first start.
Oh, who are you talking about?
We played Seattle.
The Oakland guy?
Yeah.
That was a second start, but yeah,
second start.
I
First
agree.
time seeing them. We went against our rule today, man. Shame on us for doing that. We also
good game.
We also went against a DFS rule of playing pitchers versus San Diego, which
stream.
As we look at our ace of the day, it was Robbie Ray, but right behind him was Mr. Josh Tomlin, and shame on us for missing that call because no matter how bad you are, when you play the Padres, we talk about giving advantage to pitcher, and Padres are just that bad at striking out, make any pitcher look decent.
Yeah, man. anything can happen in baseball, but anybody playing the Padres has to be in a player pool at this point. Tomlin hasn't been really good all year. He has had a couple starts that he's shined, and tonight again was one against the Padres. Did his thing. He actually was the best pitcher per dollar on DraftKings by a wide margin. So he was the guy to pair with Robbie Ray or even Rich Hill or Chris Sale. I think if you had a pairing of Tomlin with any of those guys, you probably did well or set yourself up well in both a salary cap point and just by points in general. So, Robbie Ray did make the ace of the day. Looked outstanding today. I mean, we talk about outcomes of strikeouts or walks. I mean, did this guy do anything but strike? Like, did anybody behind him make a put out in this game? I mean,
13 strikeouts. Ridiculous. Yeah. Damn it, man.
Yeah, 13 out of his 18 putouts were strikeouts.
If you were on Robbie Ray, congrats, because none of the numbers, at least that I use, would have told me that. Dodgers one of the best teams in baseball on the year over the last 7 days. In fact, their best splits are at home versus lefties, which is where this game was. So, Robbie Ray was a complete fade for me. But that's the variance in baseball. If you were on him, congrats. I'd like to know how you
He's got elite stuff. I mean, He's shown flashes this season. I personally have been on the record saying I'm not buying it just because of the quality of his opponents. But this, he went out and did his thing today for the Dodgers. So you got to give him props. He was our ace of the slate, and yeah, I mean, I didn't really play him. I played Hill, Berrios, and Sale. Rich Hill, went out and baited another pitcher's duel. I mean, we had the 2 pitcher's duels in a row between these two teams. So, obviously, the bullpens did give up some runs in this game, particularly Fernando Rodney blowing that 3-run save. Mike Fulton-Avitz went out and had a good game for the Braves. Played a little bit late into the night, and then Chris Sale, he was a top 3 scoring pitcher, but you paid up for him, so you really handicapped yourself by doing so. And Wilson Ramos kind of buried the Sale owners today. 50% owned in the GPPs that I was in on DraftKings.
Sale was over 60%, I think, in the ones I was in. So that's a point. It's like if you are going to see him at 50 to 60% owned, at what point do you fade that? I mean, you're going to go down with the ship with everybody else too. So I think if there's value to do it, I recommend it. Most slates, 9 slates out of 10. There were plenty of people that cashed with Chris Sale today. So no one expected Jake Lamb to do what he did. Edwin Encarnacion was the king of the diamond today with 33 DraftKings points and 43.8 FanDuel points. Right behind him was Jake Lamb, who hit 2 home runs in this game. Jake Lamb has been awful versus lefties all year, but he decided to take Rich Hill deep today. Right behind him was obviously Wilson Ramos, and then Jose Ramirez, another Indian, and Alex Bregman.
Yeah. Having those 2 Indians really did it for you today. If you went there, I think they were back-to-back in the order, 3-4 hitters, so expensive 2-man stack. It was easy to do. I mean, on DraftKings at least, 4,600 for Ramirez, 45 for Encarnacion. Not crazy high by any means, so that was really it, and it made sense too. I mean, they're both been playing pretty well, so I could see why you would want to go there. I didn't. I had some Jose Ramirez, no Encarnacion for me though. And then you said Lamb. Didn't expect 2 home runs. One of them came off Rich Hill. The other one went off the bullpen. And then that Wilson Ramos home run was just a meatball. I mean, he tried to get over a first pitch fastball, and he just hit it real hard. So that's 3 home runs already since he's been off the DL.
Yes, sir. All right, so we have a 2-game early tomorrow, and they are rather spread out, about 4 hours apart. Pittsburgh, Chicago, and San Diego, Philadelphia.
Yes.
Starting with Pittsburgh and Chicago, man. Chicago's not exactly hot right now. Called Kyle Schwarber back up today. Jason
they
Hayward.
sent John Lackey to the DL, the quotation mark DL.
Jason Hayward in and out of the lineup. Cubs don't really know what they're doing right now with this lineup. Not exactly.
The only thing that's certain now is that Wilson Contreras is an everyday player.
Yeah.
No more Montero.
Right.
He's been playing well, so.
John Jay threw a scoreless ninth today.
Hey.
I think, if you're on DraftKings, obviously you need two pitchers if you choose to play this early slate. I would choose Trevor Williams and Nick Pivetta, personally. I'd rather attack Chicago than attack Pittsburgh. Eddie Butler's not very good. At least Trevor Williams has a little bit of K upside. Both do a decent job of keeping the ball on the ground. Both don't allow a ton of home runs. So I would go with Williams over Butler, but it's not pretty.
Yeah, you won't see me playing this slate for sure. I mean, the second game starts at 6, 4 hours after lock. You may have that lineup. I think if you don't have those lineups, it makes me want to play that game even more because the bats in this game have been cold and the pitchers in this game have been suspect at best. So, yeah, I'm not excited about playing this slate. I don't really have much to add, to be honest.
San Diego, Philly, I will say here, Philadelphia gets a lefty tomorrow at home. They do rather well versus those at home. 210 ISO, 331 WOBA. That is their money spot is at home versus lefties, and they get one tomorrow. So that is where I would stack primarily. Franco, Joseph, Altier, Cameron Rupp if he plays. So that would be where I go on Philly. And then, like I said, Pivetta, strikeout stuff versus a team that strikes out quite a bit.
Look really good.
Away versus righties, 28% K rate. Nick Pivetta at home has been fantastic, so everything makes sense there. If you're on FanDuel, that's your pitcher.
And he's playing the Padres, so.
Yep. All right, so on to the...
Should be a fun game to watch. Padres, Phillies, yay.
Hey, two premier teams going at it. Mm-hmm. Atlanta, Washington.
So this main slate is how many games?
13.
Big slate tomorrow, usual Friday, big slate.
Michael Taylor will be placed on the DL, by the way, so he will not be in this lineup.
Really?
Yep.
What happened to Michael Taylor?
I believe oblique injury, if I read that correctly.
That's not good. Man, I was just touting him earlier. Wonder who, Rayburn, maybe?
It'll probably be. I mean, just next man up, right? They lost Eden. Taylor was that guy.
All right. Well, R.A. Dickey for the Braves. I mean, obviously you have to add into the fact that this game just ended. Started 3 hours after the start, so I think these lineups will be a little bit different, I would imagine. And then even going into this weekend, I would imagine that a lot of lineups are going to be, I don't know how you would say it, but like different than usual. I mean, we talked about the Cubs. I think that whole move with the DL stint and bringing Schwarber up is just to give Lackey some extra rest with the break coming up, and then to give Schwarber a chance to come up and get his feet wet again, So it's kind of a kill two birds. I think you're going to see a lot in the league here. I think both these pitchers get an advantage of having that rain delay today, and you never want to give Max Scherzer an advantage. I was actually trying to find today if there was a prop bet on Scherzer pitching a no-hitter. I couldn't find it. But I'm serious, man. I mean, if anybody's close to getting a no-hitter, it's
Scherzer.
This guy. Yeah. I mean,
I'm with you, man. Dude has been unreal over his last couple starts. Absolutely dominant versus right-handed hitters all season. Almost a 46% K rate versus righties. Under 120 average against. Under 200 average against versus lefties overall. Over his last couple starts, .086 average against with a 38% strikeout rate. I mean, the dude
He's given up 6 total hits in his last 3 starts. And I was looking, man, because I remember I've been watching so many times. I mean, how many times have we seen him get a no-hit bid? So I looked up the stats, right? Mm-hmm. Since he's been a national, he's had 82 starts, and he's took a no-hitter into the 6th inning 11 times. That's almost 15%.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to come soon, right?
I mean, he's got, 2 in his career? I think he had a one-hitter and a no-hitter back-to-back.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually, looking at the numbers, it's having the best strikeout season of his career. I mean, it does help that he plays in the NL East. But
This is
I'm just saying, you got Atlanta,
Miami, Philly,
long
and New
game,
York.
short bench.
Yeah.
Scherzer on top of his game. Seeing that he's got a week off next week. I guess really not off. He's going to be playing, but still, I think it's a good time as ever to lock him in.
I'm with you. Scherzer, it's going to be hard to fade that tomorrow, man. And you're paying for it. 13-2 on DraftKings, 12-4 on FanDuel, but going to be hard to fade that. And then, side note, Bryce Harper, if he plays tomorrow, is awful against the knuckleball. So, you have been warned.
And still no Jason Worth.
Yeah, you have been warned.
Who does hit the knuckleball well? If you didn't know.
Him and Zimmerman, actually. Zimmerman has a lot of success versus Dickey. So that could be a good play tomorrow. Heads up.
Now, last time Scherzer faced Atlanta, it didn't really go as well. He did give up 2 home runs, one to Kemp, one to Ruiz. And he's had a home run problem in his career. I mean, give 30-plus last year, so.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Maybe.
Gives up home runs, but strikes out 15.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you wanted to one off, and if you weren't playing Scherzer, I could see it.
Adams or Freeman.
Yeah, exactly.
We have Milwaukee, New York, Junior Guerra, and Jordan Montgomery. All aboard attacking Junior Guerra tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tough for me just because I've been watching the team hit, and it's been a rough go of late. They haven't been terrible, but I mean, it seems like the usual suspects. I mean, the call-ups have been doing well, so we'll see what happens with this lineup tomorrow. Guerra, he's been like really bad the last 2 starts, but the 3 starts prior he was okay.
He was actually good, yeah.
Quality start okay, not like shutout okay. But yeah, in the last 2 starts he's given up 5 of his 16 hits were home runs. Milwaukee doesn't come to New York often. I don't even remember the last time, to be honest with you. So it's going to be interesting this game. It's going to be an interesting game to watch.
And then what about Montgomery? He's been pitching amazing. As of late, we know the Brewers strike out a ton. Away versus lefties is their worst split in terms of strikeouts, but they carry plenty of power with them. But almost
they're hot.
Almost a 29% K rate. Santana,
You.
Braun, Pena, Broxton, all these guys kill lefties and they're hot. It's going to be very low owned tomorrow to play Montgomery. Yep.
Something's got to give. I'm telling you, man, I'm cautious with Montgomery because his stuff is very unique. There's no doubt about it. He's got swing and miss stuff. I've talked about it enough. I mean, he's got a heavy curve and a heavy slider, with a lot of break to them, and it's hard to lay off both, because they come out of the same slot. But I have a feeling, that the league is going to catch up to him, just because you look at his ERA through the first and second time through the order, it's at 3.02, and that third time through the order, it's over 5. Mm-hmm. So even in game, people are starting to make adjustments. Now Milwaukee's never seen him, so I could see them swinging and missing a lot in this game. I really could. But it's going to be interesting to see what Montgomery does as he gets in playing the AL East teams, third time here in the second half. It's going to definitely be telling
if they pick up on it.
If they can make adjustments, So, that's my case.
Houston, Toronto. Houston, if you had Altuve, Bregman, and Correa, you were good. If you had anyone else, like I locked in Springer, well, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I know.
They get Aaron Sanchez tomorrow, coming back from, I believe he had a blister, right? That's what he was out for?
It's out for a while, man.
Yeah.
For like a month. I imagine they're going to be transitioning.
Both these guys actually are coming off the DL, Morton and Sanchez.
Mm-hmm. I think Morton was a lat injury, so that's a little bit more serious. I'm not quite sure what Sanchez's injury was. It might have been a blister, but they have stretched Morton out. They've taken their time. They haven't really needed to rush him back with Marte, and they had that Paulino guy doing their thing. Peacock obviously came in when he went on the DL and is carved out a spot. But they've said that he's going to be limited to around 9 90 pitches. I think it's an interesting play. He's got some serious K upside against the Toronto team that, other than today, has been struggling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see Toronto doing kind of what the Yankees did with CC. They gave him 4 or 5 innings, and then they put Sessa in the game for 2 to 3 innings. I think they can do the same thing with Sanchez and Biagini, who's probably going to move back, get transitioned back to a bullpen role. So it's going to be a kind of a transition game for those two guys, in my opinion.
I can see that. So, I don't mind playing Houston again tomorrow. I think people will be off them. You'll get a lot lower ownership on a 15-game or 13-game slate anyway. They are expensive, though. So if you're playing max, you're going to have to punt some serious plays in order to get Houston in there.
Now, Bregman, is a guy that was top of this order starting the year. They had high hopes for him. So definitely worthy of a watch to see maybe if he keeps this going. Obviously, he faced a lefty today.
Him and Yuli are still cheap.
Still cheap, that's what I was just going to say. And 2 guys that that they've put a lot of faith into.
Yep. Boston and Tampa, we have Drew Pomeranz and Jake Odorizzi.
These guys are similar to me in profile.
What are you looking at with Pomeranz against this Tampa team that we know strikes out versus lefties?
Yeah, I said it on the top with this slate. There was a lot of pitching options today. For a 7-game slate, there was a tougher choice than usual. I think you can make the same case with this slate. There's really a lot of guys in the mid-range today that could be possible tournament options, and Pomeranz is definitely one of them. Tampa versus lefties is a thing. Obviously, with Wilson Ramos back, I think it's strengthened their lineup. If Peter Borges is going to hit like he did today, that also will strengthen the bottom of this order. But still, they have enough of a track record. What is it? Their ISO and their K rate versus lefties is just bad. Tampa is, so he's got to be in play. He didn't really play well against them last time they played. But.
He's actually like Sale. His home run problem is versus lefties. The power is in the left hand. Most of them is lefty in this lineup. So looking at Logan Morrison, Corey Dickerson, those guys. I imagine
got a big curveball.
Yeah.
Throws it a lot.
Pomeranz is not on my guys to pitch tomorrow, but wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game.
And then Odorizzi is similar, man. He's had those games, Against Boston, I don't think I'd go there, but
yeah, no, I don't necessarily want to attack Boston. Not with a not elite pitcher. Jordan Zimmerman, Carlos Carrasco. Jordan Zimmerman kind of came back down to earth against the Padres a little bit.
Very interesting opening implied run total for Detroit. It seems low to me.
Well, their worst split is actually away versus righties, if you buy into that. 220 average, 143 ISO, and over 25% K rate. And only a home run per fly ball rate of 11% versus righties on the road. Carrasco...
I see that implied total, and I'm like, man, I think I could put some pennies there,
Yeah, oh, you're talking about betting on them getting over that?
Well, not only that, but it just seems low. It's eye-opening to me.
It does.
Now, Carrasco is definitely another guy. He's a guy that when he has good stuff, it doesn't matter what the opponent is. Detroit, we always talk about, has the best hard contact, high line drive percentage in the league, but it doesn't matter. When Carrasco's on, you can't square him up. He's got a lot of movement on it, and he throws very hard.
For what it's worth, Detroit is also significantly better at home than they are on the road. Those splits for them are real. Their hard contact at home versus lefties is 52%. At home versus righties, 46%. Away versus lefties, 34%. And away versus righties, 37%.
Imagine Carrasco's seen Detroit a couple times. Yep, 3 starts already this season versus Detroit. He's only given up a total of 5 earned runs, 1 homer.
I like Carrasco.
Not a lot of Ks, but still. Promising.
We know his case stuff, right? So I like Carrasco, I do. I think he should get some consideration, and he'll be low owned because it's Detroit. No one wants to play against Detroit.
Yeah, I think the 4 guys under Scherzer in price today are all going to have the same profile to me. I don't know that I like one over the other. Let's see, so
LA, Texas, we got Cole Hamels back, Ricky Nolasco. Ricky Nolasco found something in his last couple starts, man. I don't know what.
Yeah, he put up 40 DraftKings points in his last start. I think it was at Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, no, versus Seattle, not at Seattle. But yeah, complete game shutout, 3 hits, 7 Ks. That will not happen again. I'm almost positive with that. I mean, this is a guy that gives up home runs like it's his job, especially on the road, and then you put him in a ballpark like Texas. It just, with that righties in this ballpark that give up home runs are just a recipe for a disaster against this lineup. So I hope people look at that 40 DraftKings points in his last start and shy away from Texas.
So you think you go full Texas stack tomorrow?
I'm looking at the lefties, man. I think the prices are bumped, unfortunately, than they were a couple of days ago. So it's a little bit more of a concern for me, especially when you're looking at the pitchers on the slate. It's going to be hard to pay up for a full stack. And I also generally don't like the full stack of 13-game slate, but I will have my fair share of these players spread out. Maybe a 2-man of, I don't know,
dude, Elvis
2 guys here, 2 guys there.
Elvis Andrus is back down to 3,900, and yet Odor is up to 44 on DraftKings.
Interesting.
Chu is down to 3,100 on FanDuel. That is a great.
It's almost like their prices flopped.
Yeah.
Like they're almost reacting to each other.
That is a fantastic price on FanDuel.
But I mean, I see 2-man stacks working out. I mean, we talked about it today. Like if you full stack Cleveland, right? Yeah, it probably worked out. But if you only had that 2-man, and you had the 2-man, and you need the 2-man somewhere else, and you're talking about a better shot of winning, taking something down. So maybe you just do a couple different 2-mans and spread it out a bit.
Oh, that's right. Andrus is on paternity list.
He is. He will be out.
Good look. I forgot about that.
And then Odor's hot, so I think you ride that at this point.
We know he's a streaky hitter.
Yes.
Baltimore, Minnesota. We got Felix Jorge. I don't know if his last name's pronounced Jorge or George, but and then Gosman, who has found himself something in his last couple starts as well.
I've always liked Gosman, you know that.
Yep.
I always thought he had more than what he's been showing, so I'm not 100% surprised.
You think he has a good game versus Minnesota?
It's enough for me to
fade.
I mean, it worked out well for me. I stacked those lefties today, and that was probably the best place I could have gone. I went Escobar, Kepler, and Castro.
That was a great call by you. What about Orioles against George, man? Do they wake up tomorrow?
I mean, they kind of did today a little bit. Not really, but
they're still mad cheap.
I don't think so. They obviously did a lot. They played around their lineup a little bit today. I think you can probably see that going forward. I question their farm system, man. At this point, you'd think you'd be trying something new. I mean, with all these injuries, they really haven't. I mean, they had to go out and find Ruben Tejada and kind of just take him off the Yankees for cash to fill in. Seriously, I mean,
yeah, I know.
I question their farm system a bit.
Bro, Castillo's 29.
Yeah, Jorge who is?
Wellington Castillo is 29 on DraftKings and 25 on FanDuel. Trey Mancini is 28 on FanDuel. Adam Jones is 28 and 31 on DraftKings. Those are bargain prices for guys that can do some damage.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a bargain price. I was taking chances on them when they were in Miller Park. Against Felix Jorge, second start, I think you can definitely go there. It didn't look great at all. I mean, he's not a big time prospect by any means. He's only in there because Santiago is hurt, so it's like you go from bad to worse there, I think.
Santiago was pitching decent.
If Felix Jorge was good, you'd think he'd be in the lineup. He'd be in the rotation over Kyle Gibson, Yeah.
What about DeGrom Seamart tomorrow? pitching duel. At least it's on paper set up to be one. St. Louis is favored. We know DeGrom is not as good on the road as he is at home. Not to say he's not good on the road. He's just, by his standards, not as good. But his last couple starts have been fantastic. Cardinals are one of the best teams right now, though. They are definitely one of the hottest 5 teams in the league. So, what are you looking at here? Can you pitch both guys against each other?
Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at, last 4 starts for DeGrom, 30-plus DK points. He's got, let me see. 6 out of his last 8 have gone for 30-plus DraftKings points. People are going to look at that, see that he gets length as well. I mean, he does. I mean, when he's pitching well, he gets to the 8th inning pretty favorably, or handily. I imagine DeGrom will get more of the ownership. And for that reason, I do like Martinez. He reminds me kind of Carrasco, where when he throws hard, big time. All of his pitches are thrown very hard, and so when he's on, doesn't matter who the lineup is, it's tough to hit him. So I always like to favor elite pitchers that I expect to be low owned, and I think Martinez will be one of those guys today.
I love Martinez tomorrow. Mets they've kind of tailed off a little bit in terms of their hotness. They were going good for a minute, but I think they're
everything says DeGrom's the more comfortable play, though. So I think people are going to look at that, and I totally agree. I think DeGrom is much more comfortable as a play than Carlos Martinez, and they're similarly in price, and I think he's probably the better play. But I don't think I'll be alone in that, and for that reason, again, I'm going to get Martinez super low owned. I think he's not going to be worthy of that ownership. He's good. He's a good guy.
Good guy. Funny guy.
Decent. Good guy. Like you said, Cardinals are playing well.
We have Chicago and Colorado still in Coors for the Rockies. Implied total of 6.96. Pretty high.
It's going to be a high-scoring game, man.
So, German Marquez is really not pitching well, but he has tremendous run support. That is the reason he has a winning record right now.
It's going to be a high-scoring game. Put this White Sox team in this ballpark. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of home runs in this series. So
you know what I love? They are not ridiculously priced up. Matt Davidson is 3,700. Avisel Garcia is 38. Melky Cabrera is 46, is a little priced up. Yolmer Sanchez, I believe he's on 4K. Tim Anderson is 3.5, 3.4 on FanDuel. Kevin Smith is sub 4K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'd much rather play Colorado, but I if I can take some salary savings and play Chicago, I'd be all about it. I mean, Derek Holland is one of those guys. We talk about it with Nolasco. He's a home run. Gives up a lot of home runs. He's given up 5+ earned. He's got blown up in 4 out of his last 6 starts, meaning he's given up 5 or more earned runs in 4 out of his last 6. So he's playing terribly right now. You look at Colorado's stats at home versus lefties; it's by far and away their best
split.
So getting Holland in a bad way. I mean, there's got to be a mindset issue as well. Pitchers know when they're going to Coors, things are not going to turn out well.
What are your thoughts on not stacking Colorado for the fact that they are ridiculously cold?
Yeah, I mean, I look at recent performance probably and value that more than most.
Yep, I'm with you. It concerns me. It really does. Blackman's probably off the table for me.
Just at that price versus a lefty.
Yep. Nolan.
LeMahieu's been okay recently.
LeMahieu's been actually really solid versus lefties this year. That's Holland's off. He's a huge splits guy. Struggles a lot for righties. So that's where I look. Trevor Story could be in play for his price. But
I think Mark Reynolds, man, is going to be in a core play. I mean, he's been much better versus righties.
He has under 200 average versus lefties this year.
I don't know. I just know that this guy gives up a ton of home runs, and I'm looking down this lineup. I'm like, all right, who hits home runs? I look at Story. I look at Reynolds. I don't even think I can look at Cargo at this point, but his price is nice.
Yeah, but a lefty versus a lefty, no, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Story is probably a good play tomorrow as well.
Story would be the guy I'd look at, yeah. We have Cincy and Arizona, so two great hitters ballparks back to back here. Tim Adelman, not been decent or not been good at all. Arizona, man, is it fair to say that NL West probably has the best pitching staff in the entire majors?
I mean, of any other division, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, Bumgarner, Kershaw, Wood, Greinke, Ray. What other aces are in that division?
You put Cueto in there.
Cueto's not. I don't know if he's an ace this year.
Robbie Ray at this point.
Well, I said Ray. I mean,
Kershaw, Wood, Ray, Greinke,
and there's some
Bumgarner, maybe
top guys that have potential too. I mean, John Gray, high prospect. Jeff Hoffman, high prospect on the Rockies. So, Is there a better division is there a better pitching division?
Maybe not, man. I don't know, but they've. It's interesting too because they got Arizona and Colorado in that division. So.
Yeah.
Adelman. Nothing to really love about Adelman. He walks a ton of batters, double-digit walks in almost every single game this season. Gives up the long ball. He doesn't
walks.
Really.
You mean more than two?
Double-digit. Yeah. Sorry.
This dude, I don't know what their manager's doing, letting him have double-digit walks every
Pretty
game.
much. I hope that drove that point at home. He walks a ton of batters. Yeah, I don't know. I just it's a reminder of me as with Holland. He's given up 5 home runs in his last 2 starts against Chicago, against Milwaukee, Arizona. Righties at home is like a playground for them. So
yeah, that's what they do best, man.
I think Greinke. I mean, what's your take? I mean,
I like him.
DeGrom, Greinke, Carrasco, Martinez. Toss up for me at this point.
Bro, today, it's like today, man. With all the high price pitching, where are you gonna go? I like Greinke as well tomorrow. I really do. He's not as good at home, so that is the one concern I have. Cincinnati is swinging the bat well, so he is not. He wouldn't be my first choice, let's put it that way, but I know he's going to get low ownership, and so for that reason alone, I'm looking there. But
yeah, I mean, I think everyone's just going to go Scherzer, and all 4 of those guys are going to be under-owned. I don't see why you don't, to be honest with you.
You know what? To say this, though, even on the late slate, I don't know that Greinke's my SP1. Actually, when I think about it. Dan Straley in SF.
If that Colorado game's in the late slate, then I agree.
Is it? Well, it shouldn't be because it's 8:40. The other Arizona game starts at 9:40.
If it's not, then I don't really see the need to pay down. Maybe on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think here. I mean, who else? I just don't know that Greinke is my favorite play. I'd rather attack San Francisco in that park than attack Cincinnati, who's been swinging the bat well in Arizona. You know what I mean? I know Greinke's elite,
true.
but
that's true.
That's the only concern I would have. So, Kansas City, Los Angeles. Mike, you want to know what my number 1 stack of the day is tomorrow?
The Royals.
The Royals. Going right back to them, man. I was sad they were not on today's slate. I didn't know what to do with myself. I really didn't. I was looking for them. I was hoping they'd appear. They've won me money the last 2 nights, and I was lost without them today. It's like when it's like a long distance relationship.
Hey man, when they're handing you money, I feel you.
Dude.
Same guys. I think you definitely attack Maeda. I mean, he's not like the worst pitcher on this slate by any means, but I mean, this road trip's been very kind to Kansas City. Moustakis was rewarded, and he's going to the All-Star game as he should be. I still think Eric Hosmer probably should be as well, but it's besides the point. Whit Merrifield's probably playing. He's just been playing solid baseball all year. He's a great table setter. I don't know why it took them so long to put him into the leadoff spot, but he just makes for a great, great two-man.
Who's been flourishing since he moved out of the leadoff spot?
Gordon or Escobar, you mean?
Alcides Escobar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, it made sense.
Dude, this team has. I was watching the broadcast the other night, and I know obviously homerism is involved here with this Royals broadcast crew, but they're right, man. This team went from a ton of young guys with no experience to guys in their prime, and they have tremendous power. Sal Perez, Mike Moustakas, and they all have. It's the same core that's been together. The same team won a World Series, so it's no surprise that this team is doing well, and they're all coming together and hitting their prime at the same time. And a narrative for you, Kansas City is 1 game back of first place. You know that they want to get first place before that All-Star break. You know how rewarding it would be to go into the All-Star break, beat one of the best teams, if not the best team in baseball.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to when the calendar turned to May. It was like, who is Eric Hosmer going to go to? Who is
to Boston? We heard that
going to get traded to? Everyone was getting traded. Now all of a sudden they're game out. This team's built well. Power, speed, bullpen is pretty much, and defense is what this team is built on. Kind of pillars of baseball. It is worth noting that in the past 3 years, or I think maybe 2-3 years, Sal Perez has dropped off considerably post All-Star break just because of he always led the league in innings catched, but I don't think that's much of the case this season. I think it's Maldonado that is leading, but I don't know, just something worth noting.
I
like it again.
Love KC tomorrow. They're still cheap too. Alcides Escobar's 24-26. Alex Gordon, I really like him tomorrow, 33-25. Sal is under 4K on both sites. Lorenzo Cain sub 4K both sites. Bonifacio same thing. Whit Merrifield 4K and 3-2. So love it, man. Going right back to him.
Yeah.
And then
stack though too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Hamill's attackable. Talked about how hot the Dodgers are, but I don't know. They're not my favorite spot. Hamill does a really good job of limiting hard contact. That's the one concern I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely a finesse pitcher. He pitches to contact, absolutely.
And he kills running games. Kills it.
So, I think you definitely can. I think more people will be. I mean, it's expensive. If you want to stack 2 through 4, that's
premium price.
That's exactly. So on the main slate, I don't see that a lot of people go there.
Yeah. Oakland, Seattle. We have Sean Manaea, James Paxton.
Mm-hmm. 2 pretty solid lefties.
Yeah, I'm looking at Manaea, man. I think I like Manaea more than Paxton today. Oakland has stayed on fire, kind of erasing any of those home-away splits that we were talking about, man. They're making those splits look irrelevant at this point. And Seattle's in the opposite direction. They are trending down. They've been cold. So Manaea is a guy I look at. I really like him tomorrow. Limits fly balls in a pitcher's park.
What I love about Manaea is his price, man. It's $6,400 for an extremely good prospect that has shown significant upside against great teams this season. Just another guy that, like I said, there's some pitchers, man. It doesn't matter who you play. If they're on, they're on. He's got his out pitch. It's interesting. He's only $100 cheaper than Jordan Montgomery. So be interesting to see who gets the ownership there. But I think you throw both these pitchers into that big tournament pool. I mean, we haven't talked about Australia yet, but we will. Paxton is in there. Pomerantz, Montgomery, Manaea. I think all these guys in the mid-range can go out there and be a top 5 pitcher tomorrow. Paxton, this will be his 5th game back. He's been progressing in the right direction since he came back. In his last start, he only gave up 2 hits. The only thing that concerns me about Paxton is he doesn't really throw a changeup, man. He throws 2 variations of a fastball and a curveball, and that's really it. Teams like Oakland, I like pitching him against because they're a younger team, and you don't really need to have a big repertoire, of pitches to fool them. But going forward, I really think he needs to develop a changeup at least to fool people. At some point, if you're only throwing 2 pitches, you'd think major league hitters are going to be able to figure out and sit on your fastball, catch the spin.
So, real quick, I'm looking here. Marcus mentioned that Semion's back, which is true.
Yes.
Why is he listed as a pitcher on FanDuel?
No idea.
I'm making sure I'm not seeing that wrong.
No idea.
I'm checking it right now because that's
makes no sense.
He is definitely not on FanDuel as a shortstop, and you obviously can't play him as a pitcher. He's $0.
Maybe he's probably just not on the slate at all.
No, he is. I don't know if you guys can see this.
No, I see it.
Can you see that?
Oh yeah, 5,500.
He's 5,500 as a pitcher.
That must be a mistake.
So he can't play Semien on FanDuel tomorrow.
Unless this game he comes in mop-up role.
But even then, you don't. Yeah, you'd only get pitcher points, which is really dumb. But
exactly.
Whatever. Side note.
Yeah, definitely cool buy low. I think. Obviously, this guy's got some power. Semien from the shortstop position, so.
Yeah, led shortstop in home runs last year, correct?
He did in the AL at least.
AL, yeah. I think Story had the.
I think he also led the league in errors too, but.
Terrible defensive guy, yeah.
Take what you can get.
And then finally, Miami SF. Dan Straley, I think, is my number 1 guy on this late slate, man. SF is really, really bad. They're an even worse home team. Mike, they have a 104 ISO at home versus righties this year, with a home run per fly ball rate of 6%, and a hard contact rate of 26%.
Yeah, it's awful. That is pretty bad. It's like a AAA team. They are last in the MLB in home runs.
Surprise.
Straley does give up home runs, so it's nice that there's no concern now. That's really kind of the only concern with Straley. The only other concern with him is he's up and down with his strikeouts. He's shown potential. I mean, he's got double-digit strikeouts a few times, but most of his starts kind of hover in the 4 to 6 range, and San Francisco doesn't strike out a ton. So I think it's more of a late slate option in my opinion. But he's played very, very well. I looked into it. Cincinnati traded him after posting 200 innings last season, which is strange. I mean, you don't see that often in baseball anymore.
Well, you know who they got for him, right?
Yeah, they got Luis Castillo.
Yep.
Who's come up and done well. But the reason I looked into it is that he's in an arbitration year. So he's only getting paid. Yeah. What? He's only getting paid $500,000 right now. He's in arbitration year, so if the Marlins want to keep him, they're going to probably have to pay him. He's got a good agent. I mean, at this point, he's been one of their best pitchers. And the Marlins, I don't know.
Wow.
Are they
willing to... Straley seems so old to me.
No, man. He's only had 1 full season in the majors last year. And he's on pace to pitch 200 innings again. So if I'm his agent, man, you don't see 200 innings a lot out of a starting pitcher. The way he's pitched this year for this club has been good, and he's probably going to want some decent money. So he's got some incentive to keep pitching well is where I'm getting at.
Absolutely. I didn't even know it was his arbitration year. We talk about contract years all the time. It's going to be a huge part of.
He's not going to be a free agent, obviously.
No, but yeah, you're playing.
Our Marlins are going to have to work something out with him, I imagine. I don't think he's going to be like, you're good. I'm cool with $500K.
Right. And the sport with no salary cap.
Yeah.
So.
And then Sliders is out pitch if you want to look into that.
I'm really intrigued that the run line is this close. I would think,
or even the over/under being this high. I guess.
No, I'm
the home run.
Miami against Matt Moore. I mean, I know he's better at home, but I don't know. Miami's been. I don't know that I want to mess with Miami, man. They can do some damage to you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Matt Moore is definitely a good spot to go after. Miami's always a sneaky stack too. Their prices are now up, but that's because they've been playing well. So there's a reason for it.
So I'm going to be intrigued to see where this kind of moves throughout the day. So, all right. Well, the plays that we are on, the pitchers, of course, are Max Scherzer, surprise, surprise. Jacob DeGrom, Carlos Martinez. Sean Manaea, a GPP play. Jordan Montgomery, correct? We're looking at him.
Yeah, he's kind of their pivots off each other. They're both pretty much the same price.
Yeah, and then Dan Straley would be my final guy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm
Pitchers
kind of leaning a little bit more Montgomery over Manaea, but maybe that's a bit of a bias.
You don't say.
Hey, man, I laid it out for you. I can go back and rewatch it if you want.
Guys we're looking to attack are Junior Guerra with Yankee bats. Looking to attack Jordan Zimmerman with Cleveland bats. Ricky Nolasco with Texas bats.
Heavy on the ass. Ricky Nolas.
Ricky, not good ass either. I still
Enrique. Remember Enrique slate?
It's his real name, Enrique. I might still look at Baltimore just for their price. I'm not sure yet, but might look there. And then Derek Holland against the Colorado Rockies is interesting. Something's got to give there. Bad pitcher, bad offense right now. And then finally, Kansas City against Maeda. My favorite stack of the entire slate.
I don't know if he's Zimmerman, but he's definitely worth attacking. Yeah. But that's it, man. 13-game slate. I think we kind of laid out a nice little groundwork for you guys. Again, this is the process. We kind of touch on these pitchers the night before. We don't really dive deep into the lineups. We touch on things here and there. Kind of give you a slate breakdown from the night before. If you're an everyday DFS player, this is, in my opinion, or our opinion, how it's supposed to go. You spend some good amount of time recapping the slate before, seeing what worked. You touch on the pitchers tomorrow because those are a sure thing, and see where they've been, where you project them to go. And then as we get closer to lock tomorrow, we have that lock show for the subscribers, right?
Yes, sir. I'll be going solo tomorrow. Mike's got to go save some lives and shit. So I will.
You call it that. I will be riding down that road on an ambulance.
Yeah.
The wee-woos on now and then.
Wee-woos. So yeah, I'll be doing the lock show tomorrow, and get you guys all set up. Hopefully, my stacks are better than they were on the main today. My early ones were good, so I mean I gotta give myself some credit. I can't shame myself completely, but the main was not my bread and butter today. So we'll come back tomorrow, try and do a better job, and hopefully see some green.
Again, guys, this is only the beginning. You watch this show, you get a kind of you get your feet wet with the slate. Then we give you guys every statistical resource organized properly for DFS in the world with our spreadsheet. Give you guys pretty much all day to look that over. And then after you've done that on your own, you come to this lock show, you see where we're at, you see if that kind of matches with you, involve yourself in the chat, talk to the other guys in the community and see what they're on. It's a daily process that we found to be very successful. So if you want to check it out, see how it all works, hit us up.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, we'll have a wonderful night, morning, day, whatever it is. Good luck on the early. We'll see you back for the main, and let's get that money.